Morning. Waiting, Rennie?
No. They got in town late last night. Registered at the hotel as Clark and Thompson from Chicago.
They look like a couple of drummers.
The kid that brought sandwiches up to their room told me they were both wearing guns.
Figure they're trying to hold up the bank?
I don't think so. They've been asking questions about Lon Jessup. He went in a little while ago. They followed him.
Just a minute.
Raise your hands, Hallie.
You made a mistake. My name's not Hallie.
Lee Hallie.
Hold it. I'll take that.
That's all right, Marshal. We've got it.
I'll see what you got. What's this all about, Lon?
I don't know. Hold up, I guess.
You know why we're here. This explains everything.
If you are detectives, why didn't you come right to me with this?
We want to be sure we had the right man first.
Lon, Miss Warren says you're wanted in Chicago for bank holdup and murder.
What? It's not true.
We'd like to start back with him tonight, Marshal.
Oh, wait a minute, mister. I haven't got the authority to hand a man over to you just like that. You'll have to wait till our circuit judge comes through.
How long will that take?
About a week.
Then you're going to have to be responsible for our prisoner until he gets here, Marshal.
You're not going to arrest me, are you, Gib?
I'm afraid I'm obliged to hold you, Lon. I'm sorry.
All right, all right.
They're expecting you. His wife's with him. You know, this sure surprised me.
Those detectives could be mistaken.
Well, they're not happy with me. Holding Lon till the judge gets in.
Mr. Culhane? I told Lon you'd come. You can help him, can't you?
They won't be able to answer that until he's heard my story.
Of course.
You better run along, dear. Now, you won't forget to check the shipping date on those yearlings.
I won't forget. And I'll be in tomorrow.
Is it all right if Lon and I talk here?
I guess so. I'll be right outside.
Well, first of all, I want you to know I didn't kill that bank cashier.
But you were involved in a holdup.
Yeah. I was no kid. I knew what I was doing. There were two other men in that holdup with me. One of them, his name was Hawkins. Used to work at the bank. We grabbed $16,000. Then the cashier recognized Hawkins, called him out by name. It was Hawkins who shot the cashier.
Do you know where Hawkins is now?
He and the other man tried another holdup a couple of months later. They were both killed.
Were you with them?
No. Once was enough for me. I was scared. I left Chicago, headed west. And I finally ended up here. It was nearly 11 years ago.
The detectives say there are 3 bank employees that still feel sure they can identify you.
Sure. After all this time, no matter who they brought back, they'd identify him. Now, if they take me to Chicago to stand trial, I won't have a chance. I made a mistake, Clay. But every man's entitled to one mistake in his life, isn't he?
That's not what the law says. Not unless you pay for it.
I'm willing to pay for mine. I'll return every cent of that money.
You should have done that before those detectives found you. Then it would have meant
I
something.
didn't have the cash before. But since I started doing well, I knew I was going to have to do something about it. I even told Alice the whole story.
What did she say?
Well, she was shocked. But after we talked about it for a while, she agreed that I had to do whatever I thought was right.
But she still didn't do anything about it.
Well, we had that big snowstorm the very next day. I lost a lot of cattle. And I figured after all these years, it didn't matter much if I waited till I got back some of my losses. What do you think?
Well, I'll see what I can do. Come in.
I saw you light. I thought I'd stop in for a few minutes.
Oh, Bailey, I was about to call it a day.
Well, what I've got to say won't take very long. You know, I wondered whether I should bother you about it at all, but I figured if I was in your place, I'd appreciate knowing about it.
What's all this about?
Lon Jessup, or whatever his name is. I hear you thinking about speaking for him.
We were talking about it.
Don't do it. You've made a real good start in this town. Don't spoil it by siding with a killer.
Now, he's accused of murder. That doesn't necessarily mean he's guilty.
He's guilty, all right. I was on to Lon Jessup long before those two Chicago detectives ever showed up.
You knew about Jessup's past?
I knew him for what he was.
How did you know?
Well, I can't say, but the important thing is that...
The important thing is, Mr. Bailey, that I find out all I can about Lon Jessup. Now, can you help me?
All right. One night about 2 months ago, I rode out to his place to pay back some money I owed. No sooner did I stepped on the porch and I heard them fighting.
Who?
Jessup and his wife. She was sobbing and carrying on, and he was yelling at her.
And you listened?
I thought for a minute I was going to have to go in and help her.
But you didn't.
Well, I knocked on the door, and Jessup came and then took the money. Didn't even invite me in.
Well, what were they fighting about?
Well, you know what it must have been.
No, I don't. I'm asking you.
Well, from the way things turned out, it had
What
to
did you hear?
Enough to satisfy me that Lon Jessup should be sent back to Chicago. And you believe me, Colleen, you're not going to help yourself in this town if you interfere.
Everyone here that should be?
Everybody's here, Your Honor.
Now, Lon Jessup, alias Lee Halley. Now, this warrant from Cook County, state of Illinois, asks for your delivery on charges of grand larceny and suspicion of murder. Now, legally speaking, Mr. Jessup, this is called extradition. And the reason for this hearing is to see whether or not you should be sent back to stand trial. Now, you anything to say in your defense?
As lawyer for the defendant, I ask the charges against my client be dismissed.
On what grounds, Mr. Culhane?
According to the statute of limitations for the territory...
All right, Mr. Culhane. I know. The statute of limitations for grand larceny shall be 3 years from date of execution of crime. You can put your book away. There's still the charge of suspicion of murder.
With Your Honor's permission, I'd like to quote statute number 124, enacted by our legislature in April of last year. I quote, "The statute of limitations for murder shall be 10 years from the date of execution of said crime, and shall be retroactive 10 years from the enactment of this statute."
As long as you know that much, Counselor, then you know your client can still be extradited if the governor considers him undesirable.
Well, I went to Santa Fe and saw the governor, and I took affidavits from 6 people in this town. They all testified that my client is well-liked and law-abiding. I also was able to tell the governor that my client is ready to make full repayment to the bank. Here's the governor's decision.
Extradition denied. Hearings adjourned.
Thanks, Clay.
My pleasure.
How can we ever thank you enough? Mr. Culhane. Mr. Culhane.
You're hurt.
Oh, please, could we go inside?
Of course. I better get Dr. Gannon.
Oh, no, please. I'll be all right. I can't face anyone else just now.
What happened, Mr. Jessup?
I've left Lon.
Did he do that?
If he hadn't been so drunk, I think he would have killed me.
Why?
I told him I was leaving him. I wanted a divorce. I couldn't go on living with him, not knowing what I do.
You knew about the robbery before and you stayed with him?
I believed he was sorry. He meant to make up for it.
Well, he's promised to return all the stolen money.
He lied. To both of us, Mr. Colby. When we came home from the hearing yesterday, Lon started drinking. He kept trying to get me to drink with him, to celebrate. Thanks to Culhane, he said, I'm a free man. Really free. From here on, I can do whatever I please, and I'm not giving back that money, not 1 cent. And he laughed. He said, what do you think that lawyer would say if he really knew the truth? If he knew that I did kill that bastard.
Clay, what are you doing out here? Come on in, sit down, sit down.
Your wife asked me to see you.
Oh? Where is she?
I got her a room at the hotel.
The hotel?
She's left you, Lon. Says she wants a divorce.
A divorce? Well, I better talk to her. I gotta lower it
I wouldn't do that, Lon. Pretty badly upset right now.
Yeah. Well, what can I do?
Well, I told her what a divorce would mean. The only thing she could possibly get from you would be her freedom.
She still wants to go through with it?
Mm-hmm. What happened last night, Lon?
What did she tell you?
I'm asking you.
Well, I got a little drunk. Guess I'm entitled to that, aren't I?
All right, you got a little drunk, then what happened?
What is this, another trial? Oh, Clay. I didn't mean that. Just... Oh, this business with Alice has got me all... Why would she want to leave me?
Didn't you give her a reason to do it?
Oh, sure, we've had our fights. She gets lonely. She misses it back east.
So you had your fights. Did you ever hit her?
Is that what she says?
I want your answer, Lon.
Oh, sure, I slapped her a couple of times when we were arguing. But I'm no wife beater.
Let me ask you something. Did you kill that bank cashier, Lon?
No. I thought you believed me.
All right. Do you remember everything that happened last night?
Tell you the truth, I don't even remember getting home last night. But if I did or said anything, do me a favor. Tell Alice I gotta talk to her.
Fellas leaving town, huh? No hard feelings, I hope.
It's a job.
Well, there's one thing I can't figure. How is it you fellas waited 10 years before you got on Jessup's trail?
Well, it wasn't us. The bank supplied the information, hired us.
Somebody from here sent the bank a letter.
That's so?
Letter said that Lee Halley, who'd been in the holdup 10 years ago, was staying here in Latigo using the name of Jessup.
You don't happen to have that letter on you now, do you?
Oh, sure. The bank gave it to us before we left. You mind if I see it?
What's the point?
Well, no harm taking a look at it, is there? It's unsigned.
Well, those kind usually are.
When did this letter get to the bank?
About a month ago.
I wonder if you'd mind if I kept this for a while.
No, we got to take it back to the bank.
What do you figure to do with it, Culhane?
It may be helpful in returning that stolen money to the bank.
I don't see how.
It's no good to us.
I'll see that it's returned.
All right, but if there's trouble back in Chicago, Clark, it was your idea.
Thanks. Mr. Bailey, I'd like to have a word with you.
Got nothing to say to you, Culhane. Using the law to get that thief and killer off.
I was just talking to those two detectives from Chicago.
to know what they'd have to say to you.
Well, we were wondering who sent that letter to the bank.
What letter?
The one about Jessup, saying he was here. They were wondering who in Latigo would know enough about Jessup to write such a letter. Well, I just naturally thought of you.
Me?
I remembered what you told me about overhearing that fight between Lon and his wife.
You had no right to tell anybody else about that.
Now, if you have information that might affect the governor's decision not to extradite...
I've got no information.
Mr. Bailey, that's not what you told me.
I don't even know what Lon and his wife were fighting about that night.
But you said in my office...
I only told you what I thought I heard.
Must have been about the robbery, or else you couldn't have written this.
I didn't write this. That's nothing like my handwriting. All right, Colleen. Check it yourself. If you think I disguised it, here's some notes I made just a few minutes ago.
Steve over at the livery stable said he saw you come in here. Culhane, didn't you warn Mrs. Jessup to stay away from Lon?
I didn't think it'd be necessary.
Well, Steve said she wrote out a few minutes ago. Said something about Lon wanting to talk to her. You think you might try something?
Marshal, I'd like you to ride out there with me. Mr. Bailey, thanks for all your help.
You're welcome.
Why did you have to go to Culhane with all those lies? I never even laid a hand on you. I never told you I killed that bank cashier.
I had to do that to keep you from giving our money away. This is the only way you left me.
Well, you're not going to stop me. That money's going to go back whether you leave me or not. Yes. I'll give you enough money so you can get back east. Now you go ahead and get your divorce. Alice.
Madre de Dios. It was an accident. When I tried to get the gun away from him, it went off. It was an accident. You understand, Rosario? It was an accident. An accident. Senora!
What am I going to do?
Lon's dead. I killed him. I killed him. You're true. I killed him. I killed my husband, Mr. Scully. I killed my husband, Mr. Scully.
Can you tell us what happened, Miss Jessup?
Just tell us what happened.
What happened, Rosario? What happened?
Senor Jessup had a pistol. He said he'll kill her. The senora tried to get the pistol away. It went off. It all happened so quickly.
Where is he?
In the bedroom.
Funny. think if there was a struggle for this gun, there'd be powder burns. Kinda hard to believe that a fella his size couldn't manage to take this gun away from her.
A lot of things about this are hard to believe. For instance, who wrote this? That's possible.
Why?
Could be she didn't want Jessup to return the money to the bank.
And then Rosario and I started to go to town.
Is that all, Mrs. Jessup?
That's the way it happened, Marshal.
We'll need your signature, Mrs. Jessup. That letter to the bank, didn't you, Mrs. Jessup?
When you found out you couldn't get rid of him that way, you knew you had to kill him. So you made up the story about him beating you and the divorce.
That's the way it happened, isn't it?
He meant it. About giving back all our money. He said we could start over. I was too old, too tired to start over.
How long do I have to sit here before you notice anything?
Notice what?
My new shoes.
Gib, Nora wears shoes. High time.
The genuine kid. Cloth tops.
People can't talk and play checkers.
I've said the same thing many times. You gotta concentrate on one or the other. You can't do both.
Evening, folks.
May I help you?
Yes, ma'am, you can. Like a room, plenty of water. I'd like to wash off some of Virginia, Kentucky, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Texas before I go home.
Home? Near Latigo?
Yes, ma'am. I got a ranch about 4 miles out.
Strange, I've never seen you before.
Was all fighting the Johnny Rebs, ma'am. Till I stopped the mini ball, right about here.
But the war has been over since 1865.
So I've been told.
You mean someone had to tell you?
Yes, ma'am. And it's hard for a man to believe he's lost a lot of years of his life somewhere.
Your room is 25, at the top of the stairs. To the left.
Thank you, ma'am.
He's Clinton Frome.
Frome. Haven't I heard that name before? You sure, Nora? Somebody's gonna have to tell him. I don't have the stomach for it.
I'll tell him.
Come in. Oh, it's you, man. You know, it's a nice place you have. Wasn't here when I was here last.
Mr. Frome, I'm Nora Travers, a friend of Lydia's.
Oh, you recognize my name. Well, I sure wouldn't want Lydia to see me like this. But first thing tomorrow, I'll be out there.
You know, you've been away a long time, and things change.
Yeah, ma'am. Well, this mini ball kept me away. They dug it out of my head. Slowed my memory down real bad.
You probably didn't know you were declared legally dead 2 years ago.
Dead? Does Lydia think I'm dead?
Yes. It's more than 7 years since she'd heard from you.
Well, I better go home right now, then.
Not now. Wait until morning.
But, ma'am, she's my wife.
Mr. Fromm, Lydia got married again 2 years ago. She's Mrs. Garney Stark now.
I thought I heard Nora's voice. Rather late for her to be calling, wasn't it?
Connie, Clint came back tonight. He's in Latigo.
How could that be? The War Department said that... Where is he?
At the hotel.
He tell Nora where he's been all these years?
He was wounded. Spent time in a prison hospital. When he got out, he just wandered, I guess.
Why didn't he write and let you know?
He'd lost his memory, Garney.
Lydia, I wish I could say I'm glad he's still alive and mean it.
Haven't changed a bit, Lydia.
Hello, Clint.
I was out to the ranch. Didn't know you sold it. Looked empty like.
I'm Garney Starr.
You expect me to say I'm glad to meet you?
Clint, I'm sorry.
Why didn't you wait, Lydia?
She did wait.
I'm asking her.
Clint, wasn't 8 years enough? Did you want me to wear black forever?
You said till death do us part, and I wasn't dead.
I got a letter. It started off, "We regret to inform you," and it ended saying, "You have our deepest sympathy." You can fill in the rest.
I'm sorry, Fro.
Don't be sorry for me, Sturt. All I want from you is what belongs to me.
Garney, please, just for a minute.
You in love with him, Lydia?
Yes, Clint.
What about me?
10 years is a long time. I'm not even sure I know you now, Clint.
You could get to. Wouldn't take long. He can't do for you what I could.
In his own way, he does.
He ever build you a house with his own 2 hands?
He never had to.
You ever start with 6 mangy cows and work up a ranch from scratch?
He's not a rancher, Clint.
Did he ever ride clear to Santa Fe through a blizzard just to buy you a nice dress for Christmas?
He'd buy me anything I wanted.
With his money or mine?
You didn't have to say that, Clint.
There's just one more thing. Did he ever kiss you like this?
You can leave now, Fro. You're through making comparisons.
kill each other.
That's enough! All right, I'm through, Marshal. I didn't mean to start a ruckus, but when a man loses his wife, his home, everything he's got...
You better come along with us, Frome, till you cool off.
Carney.
Marshal, do I have any rights?
Rights to what?
To get back what's mine.
You better ask Culhane. He's the lawyer. Well, now, I'm not sure a lawyer could help you, Frome.
Mister, I need help from someone. Any I can get.
Well, how long will you keep him there, Gib?
That's up to you, Garney. Who started the fight?
Who starts the windstorm?
It looked to me like he was trying to kill you.
Looked to me like it, too.
You want to sign a complaint?
No. In his place, I might have done what he did.
You know that without a complaint, I can't hold him.
Yeah, I know. Turn him loose, Gib.
If that's what you want.
Mini ball couldn't kill me, but a judge puts his name on a piece of paper and I'm just as dead. There's something you can do.
Just what is it you want back, Frome? Your ranch or your wife?
Everything that's mine.
Well, now, Lydia's your problem. I can't get her back for you.
You get back the other things. Starrett won't be able to support her. She'll have to come back to me.
Suppose she doesn't.
Then the rest don't really matter. She's all I want. I give away everything else in my will. But I didn't leave her to anybody.
Did you draw up a will?
Yeah, in my own handwriting.
Now, what'd you do with it?
I don't know.
You don't know?
There's still a lot of things I don't rightly recall. Why?
This newspaper says you died without a will. That's why Lydia got everything.
That ain't true. There was a will. I ought to know.
Was Lydia the only heir?
Well, would it change things if she wasn't?
Well, that depends.
Well, I mean, in a way. In a way, I gave her what I had. But she never had much of a head for business, so, I left everything to my brother down in Albuquerque, telling him to take care of her. Well, I knew we'd do right by her. I recollect leaving him something in the will, too. For his trouble. He didn't get anything, huh?
Not from the looks of this. Are you sure about all this?
I'm talking about what I wrote. I ought to know what I wrote.
Did you tell Lydia about the will?
Yeah. The other day I joined up.
Did you tell her where you put it?
I must have.
Now, if you did draw up a will, why wasn't it produced in court?
I'll tell you because Starrett didn't want it to be.
Well, that might be.
Look, now, maybe Starrett wanted to make sure Lydia got everything. For himself. And like you say, without a will, she'd get it all for sure.
Collusion and fraud. Pretty serious charge.
That's what they done. All you gotta do is prove it.
Well, I don't know if I can.
Well, I'll leave things in your hands, Culhane. But if you come up empty, I'll get what's coming to me in my own way.
Frome also said the will left part of the money to his brother.
Well, I didn't find the will, Clay, and I looked.
And he did tell you about making it out.
Yes, before he went away, but he never said where he put it.
Are you trying to make it look as if Lydia took something that wasn't coming to her?
Well, Frome thinks she did, with your help.
Well, what do you think?
As your friend, I wish I had nothing to do with this. But I've got a client that says he wrote out a will. And I've got to figure he's telling the truth. If If I do find it, it may change a lot of things.
I didn't hide that will. You must believe me.
I never said you did, Lydia.
You might just as well say it. You haul us into court and point the finger at us. And no matter if we do clear ourselves, we'll be judged by everyone in town. There'll always be some suspicion that we'll never live down.
Does Clint want to ruin us? Is that it?
A man in his spot will try anything. He's lost his wife, his property, everything. And everything is about all a man can lose, except the need to get it back any way he can.
The ranch, the cattle, all the other things brought Lydia $1,500 when she sold. It's all here. I can pay him back if he'll just...
What price do you think he puts on Lydia?
Whatever it is, mine's higher. You close this up if you got to. We'll get along.
Well, I'm going out to the ranch to look for that will. If I find it, you may be closed up. I searched that ranch house from attic to cellar, every corner, every nook. Nothing. Now I want you to give me a search warrant for the Starrett place.
You're picking on the wrong people, Culhane. They're friends of yours, and mine too. Garney and Lydia don't deal off the bottom of the deck.
And I've got no cause to worry, Gib. Now, do I get that warrant or don't I?
All right. All right. How much is Frome paying you?
The warrant, Gib. Just the warrant.
I went through all those books. You're looking in exactly the same place as I did.
Difference is he wants to find what he's looking for.
There was a will. I want it found, too.
What would happen if you didn't find it, Clay?
Frome would have to swear in court that there was such a letter and his wishes weren't carried out.
You'll never find it, Culhane. It was likely burned 2 years ago.
Is there any other place we could look?
It's a trunk full of odds and ends, mostly Clint's things. But I went through it more than once.
Let's have one more look.
Would you mind, Garney?
Well, that does it.
I guess it'll be my word against theirs. I always favored this picture of you, Lydia.
I know. I could never bear it.
Mind if I keep it?
No, I don't mind.
I'd like to take another look at that picture, Frome. Your will?
I guess it is.
You lied to me. And I leave everything to my beloved wife, Lydia. All my worldly goods. All. Didn't even mention your brother.
I told you there were some things I couldn't remember.
Now, what Lydia got, she got legally. The only thing this changes is you're no longer my client.
Seems to me you was on their side from the start, Culhane.
I'm sorry.
You're gonna be even sorrier, lawyer.
Now listen, Frome, I know how you feel.
How do you know?
All right, maybe I've just got an idea. But either way, you're going to have to take it the way it is.
Is that what you come to say?
I'm telling you not to make any trouble.
After what they done, don't you tell me that!
You better leave town, Frome.
Our room's paid up till morning.
Then that's your deadline. Morning.
What right have you got to...
Comes under the heading of keeping the peace.
Suppose I don't leave.
I'll give you another room. Rent free.
Yeah.
May I come in?
You gonna ask me to get out too?
Clint, I'm sorry things worked out as they did.
All the way back from Virginia. I had a picture in my mind of you running down the road to meet me.
I couldn't leave Garney
You left me?
after waiting those years. Did I? Really?
Go away with me, Lydia. We can find someplace else. Start over.
I can't.
I'm sorry the way I was. I'd have done anything to get you back. You understand?
Clint, take this. It's mine. $200. Nothing to do with Garney. I saved it. Now, I want you to have it.
For what?
It'll help. You can find someplace else. Somebody else.
That's what it's worth. You? Everything that's mine? $200? He couldn't come himself. Had to send you, was that it?
He doesn't even know I'm here, Clint. Now stop it.
You go on back. You go on back to him. And you tell him it'll take more than that to settle my bill. Now go on, tell him.
Maybe you did die in the war, Clint. I think you did. But Clay, if he's going to see Lydia...
Stay here.
Yes. All right, Culhane, you stay here. I'll go to the livery stable and see if he got his horse.
You sure everything's locked?
Don't worry about it, lawyer. Fasten that gun belt. Toss it over there. Best do like I say, Culhane. You felt sorry for me today, Lydia. And I'll be sorry for him. Get a gun, Sturt. Load it. Lay it on the counter. With only one of us left, you won't have any trouble deciding. Pick up the gun anytime you're mine to.
Clint, I'll go back to you, I promise.
You kill him and you'll hang.
He's got a gun. Let him go for it.
I wouldn't have a chance.
If you love the lady, try.
Kip. It's the only way you'd have it.
How do you mean?
All or nothing.
Walking, I was beginning to believe that him and me were the only ones left in New Mexico.
From what I saw, you both figured there was one too many.
Sitting down, he jumped me. I'm Ben Travers, special deputy from Arizona.
Play Colleen.
He's wanted for killing in Wickenburg. Maybe another in Prescott. I caught up with him 3 days east of here.
How's it happen you're on foot?
Well, first time Nelson here jumped me, we were fording the Pecos River. Lost our horses and all our gear.
It's a long walk to Arizona.
I know. I thought maybe we could get some horses in Latigo. That's where we were headed.
Oh, you're only about 3 miles out.
On your feet, Nelson.
Ahead.
Too bad you let him get the drop on you.
What are you talking about, Nelson?
Wait a minute. He tell you he's the law? You believe him?
Come on, Nelson.
Mister, I'm a special deputy. I'm trying to get this man back to Arizona.
I'll have to admit, he's a convincing liar.
One of his.
Would you give me a hand?
I told you, I'm the deputy. He's my prisoner.
All right. He's Travers and you're Nelson. And outside of that, these belongings don't tell me a thing.
Look, Marshal, I told you, my papers were in my saddlebag. They went down the Pecos, along with my horse.
Now, if you were a special deputy, you must have been wearing a badge.
It was torn off my vest during the fight.
You both said that.
He told his lie first, so you believe it.
I haven't said so.
We've really got you on the griddle, haven't we, Marshal? That's a fact.
A telegram to Prescott would tell you which one of us is lying.
Nearest telegraph line is Santa Fe. That's a day's ride.
All right. I'll send a man up there.
Well, what happens here while he's making the trip?
Well, I guess I'd better lock you up.
No!
Well, if you're telling the truth, what difference does it make?
The difference between a man living or dying, maybe, was waiting in the Prescott jail. His neck's going to be stretched if I don't get Travers back there right away.
Oh, you can ease your mind on that, Marshal. There's no truth to it.
I'm Tom Nelson. I've been a deputy out of Prescott, Arizona for 3 years.
What about you?
Well, before I went to Prescott, I worked a year as a deputy to Sheriff Heiserman up in Colorado.
You work for Sam Heiserman?
That's right. In fact, I was with him when he lost those 2 fingers in that shootout at Blanca Peak.
I've heard him tell that story a dozen times.
Listen, maybe he was a deputy sheriff once, but he's a wanted killer now.
I better get that man started for Santa Fe.
Hey, Marshal, you probably want this.
You're all you say you are. That was a pretty foolish thing to try.
Marshal, you're a lawman. Put yourself in my place. Wouldn't you try anything to get out and away from here?
Come on.
What about him?
Kip? Morrissey paid me for the damage to the rooms.
What's the matter, Nora?
Nora Travers?
You must be Ben.
That's right.
You know this man, Nora?
I'm her brother-in-law.
You didn't tell us you knew anyone in Latigo?
Well, Nora and I never met till just this minute. I didn't know you were still in Latigo. It's been 2 years since I got word that John had been killed.
You look so much like John.
I was going to drop by the hotel and, well, we had a little mix-up here.
What mix-up?
Well, you see, I lost my badge and my papers, and Marshal here can't make up his mind whether I'm a special deputy or this man is.
I can settle that. Benny's a lawman in Colorado.
Well, it's Arizona nowadays.
You heard him say they haven't been in touch for 2 years. A lot could happen in that time.
The marshal thought he'd lock both of us up until they could get someone to Santa Fe to get the word from Prescott.
Oh, well, surely that wouldn't be necessary now.
You mean now that we know he's your brother-in-law?
I told you who Ben is.
Sure. But we still don't know what he is, Nora. That's why the marshal's going to lock them both up. Isn't that right, Gabe?
I don't need a lawyer to tell me what to do. All right, Travers.
You mean you're going to let him get in? Well, in. Listen, Marshal.
I figure Travers must be telling the truth.
Sure, since Nora wants you to think that, and you're out to please her.
You say I'm trying to please Nora by turning him loose?
Yeah.
And seems to me you turned against him when you saw the way she looked at him.
Well, that could be part of it.
I've wondered what her husband looked like.
Well, now we know.
Culhane! Hey, Culhane! Are you still out there?
Yeah?
I want to talk to you, Culhane.
I heard him call you a lawyer.
That's right.
Listen, will you help me prove Travers is lying?
Well, I'm not so sure you need a lawyer, Nelson. I think you need a detective.
All right, then be a detective. Here's $5. All I got left. You make that marshal see daylight, and I'll give you a bank draft for 20 more.
Oh, I don't know.
Listen, do you really believe Travers?
Well, there's not much to go on either way.
Well, if I was afraid of the truth, would I be willing to pay you to dig it up?
All right, see what I can do.
You better act fast. That Travers will light out here the first chance he gets. There's nothing to keep him here.
Well, I'm not so sure about that.
Got yourself another client?
I told Nelson I'd see what I could do.
I should have known you'd find some excuse to go after Travers' scalp.
I wish John and I had kept in closer touch.
He was very sorry you couldn't come to our wedding. So was I.
Well, I meant to. I meant to come and see you, too, but it seemed like something always came up to keep me from making the trip. I just wish John had lived to see me settle down.
Are you married?
No. I'm not as settled as all that. I guess I just haven't found the right woman yet.
My father is anxious to meet you.
Really wish I had some new duds.
There are some things so John's upstairs.
Oh, no, I don't think I should.
Please. I want you to have them.
All right. I never argue with a bolt of lightning or a pretty woman.
John used to say that.
Well, I'm pretty much of a hand-me-down fella. I guess anything really worthwhile about me was borrowed from John.
I'll show you to your room, and then I'll get you those clothes.
Come in. Everything seems to fit fine, except maybe the sleeves are a little short on the jacket.
Oh, well, I can let him out to them.
No, I don't want you to go to any trouble.
That's no trouble. It's a good coat. Someone should have to use it.
You're wondering about these numbers on my wrist, aren't you?
Not really.
I got those marks on me in prison. Oh, you don't have to be frightened. It was a Confederate prison during the war.
Of course. I know you'd been in the war. Just didn't remember you'd been captured. My father is waiting.
I'll talk to you later, Nora.
Clay Culhane. What were you doing in Ben's room?
I was looking for something.
What did you find?
Well, now, what makes you think there was anything to find?
Oh, I don't think there was, but you've been so unreasonable.
Nora, do you know something about Travis you're afraid I might find out?
No. But you're just looking for an excuse. Any excuse to put Ben in jail because you don't like him.
I was only thinking of your good, Nora.
Were you?
He could be a killer.
I don't believe that.
You mean he won't believe it? And why? Because his name is Travis and he reminds you of your husband, right?
That's enough, Clay.
Now, Nora, you listen to me. Maybe he's telling the truth, maybe he isn't. But if you know something about it that might help Gibb decide, you should tell him.
Let me alone.
Nora, now, you listen to me.
Don't you hear well, Mr. Culhane?
Oh, it's all right, Ben.
You've been sharpening your horns ever since you found out about Nora and me. Now, if it's me that makes you see red, don't take it out on her. I thought you'd get cold-footed when it comes to facing a man.
No, Clay.
Now, you still got time, Culhane. You'd better let her talk you out of it.
Ben! Make him stop it. Well, do something. Give him.
All right, that's enough. Now, what's this all about?
Ask Mr. Culhane.
I'm sorry, Nora.
You'll want to wash up. I'll get you some warm water.
If you'd like to stop by the office, I got some water, too.
Have you known Culhane long?
Oh, about 6 months. He's a good friend.
Well, he certainly takes his friendship seriously. You still wear your wedding ring?
Yes.
Why? John's been dead for 2 years, Nora. He wouldn't want you to stop living.
It's not a question of what John would want.
Nora, you're a very beautiful woman.
Please, Ben.
You angry?
No. I'm rather glad you did that. I'd forgotten. It can be nice with the right man. No. Don't try it again. You're not the right man.
I guess I should have told you about him having my gun.
You had the gun when you were heading into Latigo?
That's right. He took it from me when he knocked me out, just before you rode up.
I better get his side of the story.
Oh, he'll have an answer. Whatever it is, it seems to me this is enough to hold him here, too.
Well, Culhane, getting Travers locked up ain't enough. I gotta get on my way with him.
One step at a time, all right? Want me to go with you?
I can handle Travers.
What about Mrs. Travers? Mind if I wait here?
I wondered where you were. Which is Travers' room?
Number 5. Oh, Gib, in the war, did they tattoo numbers on the hands of the prisoners?
I don't know. Could be. Why?
Oh, just wondering.
Come in. Oh, hello, Marshal.
I'd like to take a look at your gun.
As a matter of fact, that's not my gun, Marshal. It's Nelson's.
How's it happen you've got his gun?
Well, it was the only one saved after that first time he jumped me in the river.
if I see your hands? Palms up?
What if I do mind?
I guess I'd have to take a look anyway.
Confederate prison.
They do that in some territorial prisons, too. I think you better let me accommodate you at my place till we get that word from Santa Fe.
Well, might as well. I think my welcome here has grown a little thin anyway. I have a notion I owe you for the change of quarters, Culhane.
Look at that. I'd like to know what good it does to mop this place.
I think I can show you which one's the deputy.
How?
You'll have to ride out there with me where I found him.
All right.
Oh, and we'll need a boot from each of them.
A boot?
Uh-huh.
If you were taken as a prisoner, would you walk in front of him or behind him?
Behind.
And you agree that the man who was walking behind before the fight was the deputy?
Right.
Which one was behind?
It'll have to be this one. Because the man walking behind stepped on top of his print.
All right, this is Nelson's boot.
Travers is the deputy.
Well, said I'd settle it.
And now you're sorry you did.
Looks like all your lying didn't help you, Nelson.
Shut up!
Here's your suppers.
Well, this is a pleasant surprise.
I wanted to explain. I asked Gib about that number on your wrist.
It doesn't matter, Nora.
Now listen, deputy. You do exactly what I say. Now you go get me a gun. Go on. Don't you try anything smart or she's gonna get hurt bad.
You can't get away, Nelson.
I'm gonna try. Hurry up, deputy. Give it to me. Open that door. Open it! Now take off your left boot. Get inside.
Come on.
Go on!
I got another key.
Wait.
Nelson broke out. Took Nora. Give me the boot.
He'll try to leave town.
I say we're taking this buggy.
That horse is tired.
We got no time to change horses. Nelson! We're coming out! Try to stop us, now shoot the girl! In. Take those reins.
I'm all right. saved my life.
Nora, I'm sorry you had to go through this.
What are your plans now, Travis?
Well, I guess as soon as I'm patched up, I'll head on back to Arizona.
Neil Adams.
Thanks, Clay. Sure, I'm glad to see you.
I gotta get you a doctor.
Hold on a minute, Clay.
Come on, you need some help.
That's what I came here for. You could start by closing that door. Hey, looks like you're doing all right, Clay. I heard you was a lawyer now.
You need a doctor.
All I need's a little rest.
You're gonna get a lot of that if you don't get that bullet out of you.
I just gotta stay out of sight till after sundown. And I'll move along, Clay.
Who's after you?
I killed a kid in a gunfight down San Antonio. I didn't want to, but he drew on me. Didn't give me much choice.
And?
His brother showed up a couple of days later. Swore he'd get me no matter what he had to do. He's been trailing me for 3 weeks. I can't seem to shake him.
Well, first I'm gonna get you a doctor. Then I'll tell the marshal. He'll take care of anyone who's looking for you.
I don't need the law to fight my battles. I figured I could rest here without you bringing the whole town in.
And now, you're not gonna get very far, Neil. Now, there's a storeroom back there. Get a cot, you can get on it. You'll stay there till I get back, all right?
All right. But Clay, can we leave the marshal out of it? I don't care how good a lawman he is. I still think I'm better off. Nobody knows where I'm at.
All right, come on. Nora, Doc's back from Albuquerque yet? He's not in his office.
I think he's due back tomorrow or the next day. What's wrong?
A friend of mine has a bullet in his back.
What are you going to do?
Gonna have to get it out.
Want me to help?
Will you? Oh, will you go ask Doc's wife for whatever we need? Well, the first thing we better do is get that shirt off. Here, let me help you.
Wouldn't it be better if you cut it loose?
All right. Get over your side, Neil.
Much experience along these lines, Clay?
So? We better get this wound cleaned out, Nora.
It's handy you'd help, man.
Oh!
It's gonna take you some time to get that bullet out, huh?
I'll get it out just as soon as I can, Neil. Hold on now.
Oh! I'm trying to hold still for you, Clay. I'm trying.
Maybe if I got some whiskey for him to drink.
As I remember, it took an awful lot of whiskey and an awful long time to put you out, didn't it, Neil?
Uh-huh. Guess things haven't changed much.
Well, I got a better idea. Come on, sit up, Neil. Sit up, come on. Easy. That's it. Ah! Come on, help me, Nora.
Yes, sir. If you got a horse and saddle I can buy? Yes, sir. Bring it over to the hotel. Yes, sir. Say, did you see anything of a stranger around here this morning? Man about 30, dressed like a cowpuncher. Might have been bleeding some.
No, sir, I didn't see anybody like that, but if I do, I'll tell him you're looking for him.
Never mind, he knows.
Towel under, will you, Nora? Gotta keep this thing draining. It's out, Neil.
For a minute there, I thought I'd died and gone to the good place.
Everything is going to be all right. Would you like me to bring you something to eat?
I'd be obliged now.
I'll be right back, Neil. Nora? I wouldn't say anything about this if I were you.
Why? Is he in trouble?
Well, kind of, you see.
I interrupting something?
No, Gib, come right in.
No, I was just about to leave. I'll talk to you later, Clay.
Everything all right?
Sure.
Noah Bailey told me he saw a fella come in here a while back. Looked like he'd been hurt.
You sure don't need a newspaper in this town with old Bailey around, now do you? You asking officially?
Just asking.
All right. He's a friend of mine. He might need your help. Come on. Skip Scott, Deputy Marshal. Neil Adams.
Hello.
Hello, Marshal.
Neil and I rode together in Texas, Senator McQueen's ranch.
You a gunfighter?
Never by choice. I can draw if I have to.
Looks like you were a little slow this time.
He got that bullet in the back, Marshal.
How'd it happen?
And it was a private fight.
Where was this?
A couple of miles outside of Latigo. You don't have to worry none. There won't be any trouble. As I rest a little bit, I'll move along.
Well, if this fella put lead in your back 2 miles outside of town, there already is trouble. Who did it?
Name's Minter.
What's he look like?
Oh, he's medium tall, about 35, black hair.
Why is he gunning for you?
Like I said, it's a private fight.
Kid in San Antone drew against Neil. Neil had to kill him. Kid's brother's been after him ever since.
Well, if that's all there is to it, you got nothing to worry about. Minter's not going to finish you off here.
Thanks.
He take the bullet out for you?
Uh-huh.
It's kind of a change for you, Culhane.
What's that?
Taking him out instead of putting him in.
Here, let me help you, ma'am.
Oh, thank you.
You the Miss Travers that runs this hotel?
Why, yes. Mrs. Travers, that is.
Pleasure, ma'am. My name's Luke Morley. I'll be needing a room.
How long will you be staying with us, Mr. Morley?
Well, I can't say for sure. Fact is, I was looking for a friend of mine. I wonder if you might have seen him or heard about him. His name's Neil Adams.
No, I haven't heard that name.
Well, he and I separated in the trail about a week ago. I know he was headed this way. Hope he didn't have any trouble.
Well, maybe you passed by him during the night.
Well, that's possible. Doesn't really matter. Except I had a little something for him.
If you'd like to leave it with me, I'd be glad to hold it for him until he arrives.
Well, thank you, ma'am. But I promised to deliver this to him personally. It's a letter from his mother.
Well, I'm sorry I can't help you, Mr. Morley.
It's all right, ma'am. I guess I'll just inquire around town a bit. Maybe somebody saw him.
Afternoon. Can I help you?
You the Clay Culhane that used to ride for the McQueen Ranch?
That's right. What can I do for you?
I'm Luke Morley. I was just wondering if you knew that an old friend of yours is in town.
Old friend of mine?
Neil Adams.
Is that right?
You haven't seen him?
Well, it's been more than 3 years.
Well, I've got a notion that he'll be looking you up. If he does, would you tell him that Luke Morley was asking after him?
I'll do that.
Nice meeting you, Mr. Culhane. These are fresh bloodstains, Culhane. Now, where is he?
Who?
Adams. He came to you for help and you hid him someplace.
That's locked.
Where's the key?
Right here in the desk.
You get it. Now wait. I'll get it myself. I don't see it.
Right under the papers there. About an hour. Get out of Latigo or you can talk to the marshal about a charge of attempted murder.
I don't figure you'll call the law in on this, Culhane.
No? Why not?
Seems to me you and Adams would end up in the wrong end of it.
Adams killed your brother in self-defense.
My brother? I never even had a brother. Is that what he told you? I aim to get that $500 reward.
Neil. Come on, wake up.
Oh, hello, Clay.
Just talking to the man that shot you.
Where is he?
In town, looking for you. Says he never had a brother and all he wants is that $500 price on your head.
You gonna hand me over to him?
You know me better than that.
The marshal, then?
I'd like to help you, Neil, but I can't hide a fugitive.
Well, I'm not asking you to hide me. Just let me get on my horse and ride out of here. That's all I want. You could do that much. I saved your life, Clay.
Just how far do you think you get with that hole in your back? And Morley after you.
Well, that's not your worry. If you don't want to help me, at least don't get in my way. Here's the money from that bank job in Albuquerque. $8,000. Half of it's yours.
Better go get the marshal.
Looks like I made a mistake.
Uh-huh.
I guess for you it's the only way. Go on. Get it over with.
Sorry, Neil.
Yeah. Oh, Marshal?
Say, you seen any strangers around in the last hour or so?
There've been a few waddies, and you looking for anyone in particular?
This man's in his 30s. Dark, medium height.
Could be him.
Your name Minter? I've seen you before. Your name's Morley, isn't it? You're a bounty hunter.
That's right, Marshal.
What are you looking for?
Well, that's my business. You get to him first, he's not fair game.
If there's a wanted man in town, that's my problem.
You want to get that reward yourself. I don't aim to give it up.
You've got information about a fugitive. As a peace officer, I'm ordering you to give me his name and description. All right. Then you get out of town right now, or I'll arrest you for obstructing justice.
That's fine by me, Marshal. I can wait for him outside of town. He's bound to come out sooner or later, especially when you get to nosing around. Why don't you try Culhane's office first?
What makes you think your man is in Culhane's office?
He knows him and he needs help. He's been hurt.
How do you know he's been hurt?
I ought to. I shot him.
I've been looking for you, Gib. I just come from your office.
Get out of my way, Culhane.
There's something I gotta tell you. Will you let me explain?
Explain what? That the man in your back room is a special friend of yours, so he's safe from the law?
I was just coming to tell you.
You had me in there once and you made a fool out of me.
No, will you listen to me?
Hands off.
Where is he, Culhane? I don't know where he is. He was here when I left. Be my guess to take the road to Bandera.
Fine. You go to Bandera.
Well, now, Gib, I'm only trying to help.
Who? Me or Adams?
For no reason, Neil.
Get out of my way.
I'm taking you back to Latigo.
I've seen enough of Latigo to last me for a lifetime.
Well, that may not be for long if you don't take care of that wound.
I feel fine. Now get out of my way.
I thought you decided to stand trial.
Now, that's what you decided, Clay. But I ain't spending the rest of my life in jail without giving it some deep consideration.
You don't have to spend the rest of your life in jail, not if it's your first offense.
Well, it ain't. And anybody who wants that money's gonna have to get it the way I got it.
Money never helped a dead man, Neil.
I ain't dead yet.
Morley may just see to that.
And if he doesn't, you will, huh? You and me never did find out who was fastest on the draw, Clay. We was both pretty fast.
Drop it. Come on.
Now we know who's fastest.
Get away, Culhane! That was murder! He is wanted, dead or alive, and he's less trouble dead.
He was unarmed. You knew I was bringing him in.
No, you weren't. You were helping a fugitive to escape justice, and I had to kill you to prevent it. thanks. Forget it. Everybody makes mistakes. Looks like he made one too many. Let's get a hold of him.
Xin chào mọi người. Ở video trước thì mình đã hướng dẫn mọi người móc xong 2 phần chân như thế này. Và đến với video hôm nay thì mình sẽ tiếp tục hướng dẫn mọi người nối 2 chân này lại và móc lên phần thân của capybara nha. Mình tiếp tục móc lên hàng móc thứ 7 của phần thân. Thì ở hàng móc này mình móc toàn bộ là mũi móc đơn nha. Mình sẽ đi mũi móc đơn đi qua hết chân thứ nhất. Sẽ gồm 16 mũi móc đơn ở chân thứ nhất nha. Sau đó, sau khi đã đi qua hết 16 chân mũi của chân thứ nhất thì mình vòng sang chân thứ hai và móc tiếp mũi móc đơn. Ở chân này thì mình cũng sẽ móc 16 mũi móc đơn nha. Mình móc đến đây là đã được 16 mũi móc đơn của chân thứ hai. Và tiếp theo mình móc vào chân mũi đầu tiên này, một mũi trượt để kết hàng. Sau đó là lên đến hàng móc thứ 8. Hàng móc thứ 8 của phần thân thì trước tiên mình sẽ móc 8 mũi móc đơn nha. Sau khi được 8 mũi móc đơn thì mình móc một mũi móc tăng. Tiếp theo mình móc 14 mũi móc đơn nha. Sau khi đã được 14 mũi móc đơn rồi thì mình móc tiếp một mũi móc tăng. Sau đó mình móc 8 mũi móc đơn cuối cùng. Cuối cùng mình sẽ móc mũi trượt để kết hàng và lên đến hàng móc thứ 9 nha. Hàng thứ 9 thì trước tiên mình móc 10 mũi móc đơn. sau khi móc 10 mũi móc đơn thì mình móc một mũi móc tăng. Tiếp theo mình móc 12 mũi móc đơn.